Hey guys, this is Fast Track Friday. This is for instructional leaders or principals. So really looking at Shadow AI Readiness Tool, right? Thinking of what is Shadow AI, how does it affect my school? But this is for mainly school leaders. So we know artificial intelligence is already here and it's really shaping classrooms in ways we are unsure about, really. So thinking about what are some things that our teachers or instructional coaches or just our students are using and that are helpful for them, but they're operating outside of kind of our purview and district. So I think our goal today is kind of look at some of these tools and think about how do we need to shift our schools rather than be reactionary, just be proactive to think about how do we assess if our schools are ready to manage shadow AI, responsibility. So first we need to kind of understand what it is and kind of ask kind of why does it matter and what is it? So most of the time shadow AI doesn't kind of start with ill will or ill intentions, right? It starts with teachers being creative and excited about new technology. And many times they're trying to solve the problems of supporting students and really enhancing learning in the classroom. So I don't think it's innovation, it's I say ours district lack of visibility of data security and kind of alignment with our values at the district. So really considering what that is. And so you're saying, okay, Cassandra, why does that matter? Now, why does it matter? Well, let me kind of explain. So when our districts are struggling to provide the guidance for our teachers, our students to kind of fill in the gap and to kind of share with them or share best practices, what's kind of available, they're many times risking compliance, privacy matters in the process. So one of the things our team kind of created is this kind of assessment framework overview. And I want you to kind of dig into this, thinking about our 6 domains that really shape our school's readiness. And so think of this as like a mirror, right? You're looking at a mirror and it reflects what is your reality for today, helps you identify where you focus, what you need to do next. And the intent is not to be perfect or to score perfect, but it is to kind of use the results to think about what is our call to action. Kind of, it goes into like, what is our policy development? Are we even developing a policy at school? What is our vendor transparency? We all know that our vendors will hold this data. So what transparency do we have for our vendors in understanding our compliance standards? Our literacy training, right? So if we're incorporating these literacy components, many times we have curriculum, many times we have other components, but how are we building the capacity of our teachers through ongoing professional development? Another piece is auditing. I think auditing typically is this idea of happening maybe once a year if need be, right? But really thinking about how are we auditing or kind of we have a pulse on what's going on. How are we tracking and reviewing our different usage across schools, across classrooms, and even what does that look like? And then last, not last, but the one before last, we're thinking about what does our community engagement look like? Are our parents informed? Do they understand that they are a part of the decision making when we're talking about adopting these AI tools? And last but not least, I say this is the big one. Are we safe and is this innovation safe practice? How are we balancing what it takes to be responsible with the content and information as well as creating new spaces for our students and our teachers? Now, you have to DM me for this quiz if you kind of want to know about kind of our scoring system, but kind of each of our different domains is like from 1 to 5, not in place, or yes, we have it in place. But just to be honest, it's not, an evaluation. It's just about kind of identifying our needs or our growth areas within the schools and the districts that you serve. So if you're scoring about mostly 2 to 3 in the 2 to 3 range, that's actually great. It's a great starting point because that means that you are aware, you understand that there is some growth in that area. So 1 is not in place, 2 is kind of we're emerging, 3 is we are developing, 4 is we are strong, we understand these components, and 5 is we are exemplary. So really think about whole AI. It's embedded in our culture and we breathe it every day. So it starts with kind of domain 1, just that strong governance and clarity, right? People can't follow what they don't know, right? So if you don't have these processes in place, we can't expect our teachers to kind of understand or know our intentions. So does your district have clear approved tools? So in 2 of the schools that I walked through that they are using the approved tools, but there's been no professional development around them. So although the tools are there, teachers have access to them, teachers are not sure where the district wants them to utilize them. So really understand that our teachers know the professional, or they have professional development around these policies, and then thinking about like our FERPA laws, COBA as well, but real transparency really reduces just everybody being kind of confused and figuring out, okay, is this safe, or is it off limits, or you gave us to use this, but how do you want us to use this, right? And so thinking of what do your guidelines look like, what is your plan to roll out for professional development and training, and do our teachers, are they understand or abreast of what our compliance alignment looks like? So I think this is a big one. Thinking about our vendor accountability is crucial, because they are capturing our students and our teachers and all the things data. And so I think every AI tool should come with clear kind of data protection agreements. We have a lot of these new tools coming out that are utilizing AI. So if it touches student data, it must meet your district standards. And so do our contracts right now specifically understand and communicate how our data is collected, how it's being stored, how is it being deleted, if it is? On the professional learning side, right now we're seeing, of course, AI is the new digital literacy. Teachers need not only technical experience, but ethical understanding with our AI use. And of course, we can't expect compliance without understanding our teacher capacities. So training is so important. So really understanding here is domain 2, transparency through our contracts. And then domain 3 is kind of AI literacy and the ongoing training of professional development. Now, I keep saying this is a big one because it is. 4 and 5 is thinking about what is the oversight and how do communities advocate and have a voice in this. So we know monitoring is not, it's kind of about just being visible and transparent, not kind of micromanaging what teachers are using, right? But, our IT team should definitely be aware of what's being used and where, whether it be like looking at the tools, auditing, are we aligned with our educational goals? We know our community, once we are transparent with what we are working on, it builds trust, parents, students. Teachers should have a voice in how it's being used in schools. And of course, we know transparency, it kind of reduces resistance when there is a full rollout, okay? And so thinking about how we are monitoring, auditing our tools, and domain 5, really thinking about what is our community engagement and dialogue before the rollout. Domain 6, is innovation. We love innovation, but making sure it is safe. So it isn't just kind of shut down what we are using, but it's to manage and deploy it safely. So we're encouraging our teachers to use tools, but providing a structure that protects our student data and, of course, aligns with our mission and visions of our school. So we're thinking of it as we are this sandbox. We want them to explore, but with boundaries or understanding the boundaries, right? And so we know AI right now is becoming this human-centered design. So it's going to be big human, little AI. And so it was continuously remain our priority. And so we know AI is not replacing, it is enhancing and supporting. So we're encouraging exploration, but giving teachers that time to play in the sandbox. We have vetted some of the AI tools and we are streamlining the process, allowing them to know what are some best practices. And we also kind of assure them that this is human-centered design versus AI is taking over. So again, if you want access to this tool, DM me, but really thinking about how do we interpret our school world after kind of looking at each domain, adding up our total and our strands, and if you're in the 25 to 30 range, you are leading the way, continue that upwards momentum and growth based on the checklist. And then if you're 1924, meaning you're developing, right? There are some signs that, some signals, some gaps that you definitely need to kind of work on. And of course, if you're 13 to 18, we are, or if you're 12 below, it is high risk, and I encourage you to definitely reach out. But there's always great potential to be made, and the key is to kind of use this as kind of like a roadmap on your recovery, and not one of those things like pushed back and let's remove ourselves from it. It's the roadmap. Roadmap. We all can get better. All right, again, it's just a pulse. So thinking about turning this assessment into kind of action, share your findings with me. DM me, let me know what was your findings. This great discussion starter. What we do is find 2 to 3 areas of focus till we focus on the strength. We set goals, of course, our goals, measure our accountability. We revisit this idea each semester. And the goal, like I said, is just imagining that Shadow AI is not this restrictive idea. We are supporting innovation and being responsible with our future leaders. So Of course, you're going to continuously share and grow. We set quarterly goals. We try to identify 2 to 3 priorities that we're working on, and then we assess regularly because we want to make gains. So if you love this, definitely DM me. And if you have taken the assessment, reach out to me and tell me your score so we can move forward. Talk to you later. Bye.